Hello, my third grade friends. Welcome back. Today we are doing. Oh, it's on the wrong page. Unit 3, Lesson 13 Frequency Tables and Line Plots. Okay. So, a tally chart can be used to organize and record data. It's really easy if you have to write things down. You don't want to have to keep scratching out numbers and write them. You can just keep tallies. The one thing to note about tallies is when you have 5, rather than do a 5th line, you do this diagonal cross out, and then it's easy to count by 5s for all the things up to when you're back at singles again. So for example, so you might, if you're tallying something like people walking through into a doorway really quickly, you can go 5, 10, 15, and then 16, 17. Right? Rather than having 15 straight lines. And you're like, wait a second. All right. So that's a tally chart. A frequency table shows how many times events occur. So it's basically taking the tally chart and putting it in numbers now that you've, finished your counting. And it's showing how often something has happened. So there have been 1 7-year-old, 3 8-year-olds, 5 9-year-olds, etc. Here, a line plot is representing this in a way that you can easily see the biggest number and the smallest number, and which numbers didn't happen at all. Kind of like a graph, but it's called a line plot. So this is all showing the ages of some basketball players on a team in different ways. And we can use this to answer these questions. How many basketball players are 10 years old? Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you can see just the number 4, and here you would count the dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 players. Next one, what age appears most often? This one I really like the line plot for because it's the tallest one, 9. Are there more players younger than 9 or more players older than 9? So, younger than 9, I'm going to count all of these ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. And older than 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So older than 9. Write another question that can be answered using the data displays. Maybe how many 11-year-olds are there? Okay. And you could ask how many, kids in all, how many, what was the second most popular age, stuff like that. Okay. Now, if we were in a class together, we could do this activity, but we're not, so we're just going to make it up, and it's going to be fine. All right, so grab my ruler. I have it. Okay. Measure the lengths of the hand spans of 10 classmates. So that's from here to here. To the nearest 1 inch. Have your classmates spread their fingers apart as far as possible and measure from the tip of the thumb to the tip of the little finger. Record the data in a tally chart. And then make a frequency table. So we're going to start, I think mine is 5.5 inches. So we'll start at 5 inches, 5.5, 6 inches, 6 inches, 6.5, 7 inches, and 7.5 inches. These are going to be the same over here. 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5. And then the same thing down here on this part right below. 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5. Okay. Now, we're going to put some information on here that we're making up. Now, normally you're not supposed to be making up information, but it's just to learn how to use these tools. Okay? So let's say there's 1 kid with a 5-inch hand. There's 2 kids with a 5.5-inch hand. There's 3 kids with a 6-inch hand. 3 kids also with 6.5-inch hand. How many do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 1 kid with a 7.5-inch hand. Okay. So then here we put 1, 2, 3, 3, 0, 1. Okay. Now we're going to put the correct number of corresponding. You can either do little dots or little X's. I like to make circles, but it's up to you. The important thing is they're evenly spaced and they're the same size, because the point of it, you wouldn't want like one X to be like that and then one X to be like that, because then you can't really see which thing happens most often, you know. It's gonna be a mess, so don't do that. Okay, so I'm gonna do little X's. X. I'm gonna make them as close to the same size as I can. 3. When I'm like eyeballing the height, trying to keep it as even as possible. Making sure my 3 is taller than my 2. I want my other 3 to be exactly the same height as this one. It's pretty good. 0 on the 7 and 1 on the 7.5. Okay. What occurred most often? 6 inches and 6.5 inches. We're gonna have another question. You come up with a question and enjoy. All right. Thanks for joining me. I will see you next time. Bye-bye, my friends.